Hello, friends. Happy Friday. I've been using dev containers for quite a while now, and I think it's really, really amazing. I really want to help you understand this and try to use this in your own workflows. Today, it became very apparent. I'm working for a client, a government entity, that wants to give us laptops, but we do not have local admin rights on these laptops. So we cannot install Docker. Plus, there is this licensing issue. The company does not want to pay for Docker licenses, so we cannot use Docker Desktop. We also can't install VS Code. We can't install Terraform docs, Terraform itself, tflint, make. There's so many things that we cannot install. Pre-commit, Python, all of these things that make us successful engineers. So I discovered something that I'd love to share with you. So with that, let me share my screen. I'm sharing this screen with you guys. Now, I've always used dev containers, right? So let's open up a folder which has an example of dev containers. So we're going to go to Workspace, Personal, and we would like to open up our golden image folder. Now, we will see this pop up, reopen in container. Now, what this will do is it will actually build, it will look into dev container, see that there's a dev container.json file. It will figure out that it needs to look at the docker compose.yaml. It will hit this docker compose.yaml. In this Docker compose, it will tell us that the Docker file is this path to the Docker file, and will also which volumes to mount inside of the container, and it will then build the Docker file. Now, in this Docker file, I'm using Ubuntu Jammy. I'm installing some packages like Python and Nano and Unzip and all of that, but then also I'm installing Packer over here, and I'm installing Ansible, and I'm installing Hadolint and tfenv and tfsec and tflint, and the tflint Azure plugin. I'm installing Terraform docs, the AWS CLI, the G-Cloud CLI, Azure CLI, and then lastly pre-commit. So what does this mean? Well, it simply means that when this developer environment starts, I can do Terraform-V. Excuse me. And I would have Terraform version 1.6.3. And the reason I have this version is because in .terraform-version, I've said I want version 1.6.3. And in my Docker file, tfenv will install this version for me. So when I look at tfenv, it's going to copy my .terraform version into op terraform version. It will clone tfenv, and then it will do tfenv install, which will get me this version. If I do packer-v, I will get this version. But look at this, friends. On my laptop, I don't have Terraform, and I do not have Packer, and I certainly do not have Ansible version, which I have here, but I do not have this Ansible version. So this is incredibly helpful. Firstly, to give your engineers and your colleagues and your team this environment where they can just start coding on the very first day. They've got all of the tools here. Moreover, if your laptop gets broken, you can just recover. You can just start your dev environment, and your tool chain is extremely small. All that you need is that you need Docker installed. You need the .dev containers extension over here, and you need VS Code, and that is all you need. But I have an extra special something for you. As I told you before, I'm starting to work on a client, a government entity, which is very strict on security, understandably. So they want to give us laptops, but we cannot install anything on there. Now, how are we supposed to code? The answer is, thankfully, they use GitHub Enterprise. Now look at this. If I have a dev container in here, okay, this dev container, which is the same directory I showed you now on my laptop, it's the same repository, I can go create code space on master. What this will do is it will build a VS Code in a browser for me, and it will install all of my dependencies for me. So there is no longer any talk about Docker licensing. There is no talk about installing any tools. Security can do their work by whitelisting this side range to their AWS accounts. I only need a browser and a keyboard. That is exactly all I need to do my work. I think it is the most incredible thing, and I just wanted to share it with you. So we are going to give this just a couple of seconds to start. And of course, you can use these dev containers with your other projects as well. Let's say you have a Node.js project or a PHP project or any project for that matter. You can use a dev container, and you need to just have a .dev container folder in there with the specification of the dev container JSON, everything you need, and you need a Docker file and a Docker compose, and you are off to the races. So this should not take too long. And I just wanted to show you here, I have a run.sh. In this file, I have a run.sh, and make format will run Terraform format. Make lint will run YAML lint, Packer lint, Terraform lint, all of this. And then validate and clean and make docs and pre-commit. So let's do run.sh over here. And it's doing our Packer format for us. It's doing our Terraform format. It's doing Terraform lint. It is fetching our modules for us. See, this guy's still going. It will also do a tfsec for us. And we're just going to give it a couple of seconds. It's downloading all of my plugins. There we go. It's doing tfsec. And now it's going to do my pre-commit rules for me. Now, it will do stuff such as check for large files, permalinks. I cannot commit on master branch. It will trim my trailing slashes for me. And more importantly, it will look if I've committed private keys or AWS credentials. And similarly, I can do this here. Once this is finished, I will show you now. I'm going to do run.sh. But my pre-commit, I can configure in here. Here are some default pre-commit rules. But then a fellow ambassador of mine, of HashiCorp, Anton Babenko, has created also some pre-commit rules specifically for Terraform. Excellent work that he has been doing. And we reference and use this here. Thank you, Anton. We appreciate it. Now let's look back over here. Shouldn't take too long. And by the way, it only takes this long the first time. You can stop these Codespace environments because it does use compute power. I have, however, destroyed it because it is my free GitHub account, and I'm trying to keep the cost low. So, and then here is Hador lint, which will lint my Docker file and give me valuable output for this. And we are just quickly waiting for this guy to finish. Now remember that this is in a browser. So all that you really need is a browser. That's all that you really need. Folks, let me stop this here and I will quickly come back to you when this is finished and I'll tell you how long it took as well.
A few moments later.
There we go, friends. It literally took, I think, about 3 to 4 minutes. Anyway, my dev code space has now launched and I can do Terraform-V over here. And I have in my terminal, in my code space, Terraform. And I can do Packer-V over here. Now, keeping in mind, this is in a browser. This is in my Firefox browser. And I can do Ansible -- version over here. In addition to that, I can do .run.sh, meaning it's going to run my tf-lint, my Terraform format, my Packer format, all of this for me in my code space. This is incredible. I only need a keyboard, I need an internet connection and a browser, and I can run all of these utilities in my code space. This is exactly the same output that you would expect from your build agent, because the build agent uses the same Docker file that we are being dropped into at the moment. Meaning, if I go and show you the GitHub workflow, in my pipeline, I'm building my Docker container, I'm building it, and I'm publishing it to, where is it? My golden image builder container. And then in the very next step, I'm using this image and I'm running my Packer and run.sh in this environment, meaning that this environment is exactly the same to this environment. Friends, this is very, very, very powerful. And I'm so glad that you could join me for this. Whoops, I did make a couple of changes over here. Let's run this again. And that, in a nutshell, is dev containers and GitHub Codespaces. Now, like I said, you can use this for your Node.js projects. You can use this for your Python projects. You can even use this for your Terraform projects. It is incredibly powerful. I hope that this will help you as much as it has helped me. And with that, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining me again. I really do appreciate it. If you did find this useful, please like and share it. And see you again next time.